Freedom fighters, I'm coming back at you with another Manic Monday. Well, the big news of the week, I guess, that went down was Trump's plan with Palantir to create a database on, all American citizens, a giant registry per se of, all your actions, your even I heard even reported like medical records, bank accounts, pretty much a full collection of data on you and everyone else you know. But, this goes to a point that I've made, previously before how, it's two wings on the same bird, how the agenda always moves forward no matter who's in office. And that's what they do. They use controlled opposition leaders, specifically like Trump, to push these things that you would never expect. I mean, you've got Kristi Noem pushing real ID, where and then you got Elon Musk, who's the chip maker and working with what's that thing? Is it Starlink, or I forget the thing where he's doing the brain chips and stuff like that. But you got him doing that. You got Kristi Noem pushing the real ID. We talked, a ton about Kash Patel and Dan Bongino at the FBI, building them a new headquarters, a bigger and better FBI. And then you got Trump making, a database. This is your Republican-led coalition. And again, people would be flipping out if these were Democrats doing it. They would be like, oh, here's the NWO, and here's the rollout, essentially. I mean, this is it. But they do it under, your guys, right? Your freedom-minded people, or at least you think people who are on your side. They roll it out because you're much, easier willing to accept it. But, a lot of Trump people have been, posting this. I've seen it. A lot of the main influencers and stuff like that, they can see the writing on the tea leaves now. And as we get closer and closer to the end game, it becomes more clear. When things, it really gets to a point, it's like the fog. When you might not be able to see 5 feet in front of your face, but, it gets a little closer, your hand gets a little bit more, faint or whatever, you bring it closer, a foot, half a foot. As it gets closer, it gets clearer. And people are starting to recognize, I mean, I saw a lot of big channels that were like, 1 million followers, and some of them a couple 100,000 followers that were big Trump supporters and, Republican donors and stuff like that. Like, what is really going on in this administration? Like, what are we getting? And a lot of people saying, Republicans are going to lose the midterms. Like, this has been a complete flop and failure of the, the principles that we hold. But anyway, man, I saw another post talking about, I was looking on X and everything, and I'm going to try to link this post or something, or I'll try to edit into the video, or I'll send it somehow or post about it. But this firearms place put out a post, said, how could they ever disarm us? And it was a video of people shooting, all these guns and stuff like that. One of these like range day specials or something. I forget exactly where it was. I didn't really look into it. But again, there was a lot of prominent figures in the comments, blackpilling. And one of them was Grunt Proof, which I haven't run across a while. But then I looked, at his page. He's another one who earned a follow. He's had a lot of good posts lately talking about, just all the stuff that's going on. But he was like, one by one, that's how they're going to disarm us. Mike Cernovich, I think, was another one, which I stopped following him. I'm not quite sure why, but I remember he posted some. I think he was pretty much a shill. Like in the first Trump administration, I remember he got a a pass, White House press pass or something, and he was really good at counteracting the real fake news, leftist propagandist journalists in the White House press room. But then I think as I started following his channel, he kind of his true colors, came through as being a kind of like a rhino conservative himself. Um, I think some other things too that can't remember if he was a degenerate or not. Talking about degenerates, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the whole Greenwald um thing blow up this weekend where he was in like a maid outfit or something doing BDSM sex fetishes with his homo lover or something like that. Supposedly not even like his husband or whatnot. It was like just some prostitute or something like that. And then he's like doing drugs and all this. So these are your mainstream, conservative influencers. Um, we've talked over and over about how the right wing has completely changed and they don't hold true to their principles and all that. But um anyway, back to that gun meme or whatever that the guy posted, like how could they possibly disarm us? And that's been a main topic on this channel for a long time. And I think my comment to that tweet was, all these people, you've seen these things before. They're like full auto, shoot offs or whatever, where they gather a bunch of people and you can shoot your full autos, your belt feds, you know, and they bring tracer rounds and stuff like that, and they shoot them off at night, and they all get on the firing line and blast that stuff off. I'm like, these people are all super rich, you know. In order to possess those weapons, like you have to have a lot of money to even purchase them. But they're all, you know, uh, permit. They got all the permission slips and granted permission from government to own and fire those weapons. None of those people are doing any illegal activities right there, and that's why they could disarm us, because none of those people are doing some kind of rebellious act. They've paid for all that, and that was kind of my video where I discussed Dragon Man before, where if you look at a lot of his videos, people are like, they're never getting his guns, like this is a true American and everything, they're never getting his guns. All that stuff is registered, and through all the paperwork, 4473s, class 3 licensing, all that stuff. America is no longer this wild. We don't have this wild, wild west 1776 patriot attitude anymore. The rebellious, freedom. And no one's actually out here doing the real freedom stuff. It's and I saw another tweet, man. This one was great. I have to try to post this one too, but it says the guy was saying just like this, and he posted a picture of some J6ers who handed their weapons over. And again, it's like, you stormed the Capitol. You're here, you're in it for the revolution and all this, but then the government says declares you a terrorist because you won't, you're against their agenda, and they, round you up, label you as a domestic enemy, throw you in prison, charge you with felonies, and say that you have to surrender your weapons. And that's exactly what they did. And the people who did that, you don't realize what the Second Amendment is for. And then he even said on there, he was like, they're like, well, why did you hand over your weapons? And he's like, because I'm a law-abiding citizen. Man, if you think you're gonna law-abiding citizen your way through tyranny, you don't know what's coming. Because that's exactly how they get you into the slaughterhouse. That's exactly how they take over your country. Any act of resistance will be seen as criminal. You will acquire criminal charges by being a resistance, a rebellion, freedom fighter. That's what's going to happen to you. Um, and a lot of people have been covering that, but I cover gun confiscation every day in this country. It happens over and over again, and I've shown it multiple times. And there's channels much better than mine. Like I said, I watch Police Audit, Lackluster, Here's the Deal. All these channels that cover this literally every day of tyrants taking guns in this country. And there was another video recently I wanted to cover. I didn't cover it at the time, but it's been going around in a lot of the channels lately. And again, I'll try to post all this stuff when I'm editing the video or whatever. But it's about this video of some Afghan immigrant where he gets pulled over. And I mean, short story, he ends up shooting at the cops and gets killed. But he goes on a long rant. The full video is posted somewhere, and it's like 25-30 minutes or something. But he's like, hey, you guys brought me here to this country. Supposedly, he was part of the program where, like, if you are an informant in Afghanistan or Iraq or whatnot against the, Taliban or any of these organizations, they grant you safety or asylum because you're going to be targeted in those countries. So they brought him here and they pulled him over from like some kind of minor infraction, like I forget exactly what it was, but it was like an expired license, or he had tickets piling up, or registration. I think it was his vehicle registration or something. And he's like, I can't get a job. I can't pay all these tickets. I can't, do all this stuff. And, you guys are harassing me for this stuff. I saw another video like that recently just from a, ordinary American who said, I'm driving to work and I just got my 5th ticket because I can't pay my registrations and all these previous tickets. And it's just an endless trap. And then when they go to try to enforce it over, minute traffic violations and tickets, and which he knows is going to lead to the finding of his possession of his firearm, which they're probably going to deem illegal, and confiscate his firearm, he decides this is where he's had it. And for all you people who are like, oh, against it, this is what come and take it looks like. This is what from my cold dead hands looks like. And he drew his line. He was fed up. And he's like, you're not going to take the last bit of freedom I have. He said he's like, I've lost it all. I've lost my brother who supposedly died in the war over there. He's like, I've lost all my money. I'm just racking up tickets here. Where is this so-called freedom? And now you're going to come in here, see I have a firearm, take this, throw me in, I think it's a 5-year minimum possession charge for an illegally owned firearm. So he had it. And Patriots should be looking at that as an example. But I know because, he's an Afghan immigrant, people think differently. But again, that's what it is, man. And I guess I wanted to talk a little bit. Last video I mentioned, Trump's World War III stuff, and I didn't really end up getting to it. I'm already kind of running long on this video as well. I try to keep these to like 15 minutes, but, Trump, a lot of people have reported, has been out of the loop on, Putin's assassination attempts like that. And they just did a huge attack on Russia. They drone striked like a big part of their fleet of their fighter jets and nuclear deployed bombers and stuff like that. And you remember when the Zelensky meeting where it's all a show. And this is what they do. They try to make it look like, hey, Putin, we're at odds with Zelensky and, we're not friends. So now we can become friends. And hopefully that he submits and, does whatever he says and stops the war. But that didn't work. Putin was like, no, I'm not buying this, in the White House video of you guys fighting, all that stuff. And we're a sovereign country. We make our own decisions. Ukraine attacked us. We're going on. Where same thing with Israel. The Netanyahu thing where, oh, we're at odds and, we're not getting along right now. But then now they're planning to attack Iran. It's all this, they feign one direction and move the other. As we always say, if they tell you to do something, do the opposite. And when they tell you something, it's the opposite of what is actually the truth. But yeah, man, I'm just gonna leave it there. There's your rant, your Manic Monday rant for today, and it was kind of actually like a weekly wrap up of previous things I didn't get to, but just going through over some of the craziness, man. Let me know. Until the next one, you know what it is, man. We are on our own. Nobody's coming to save us. Only God can save you. So get right with God. Freedom fighters out.